Christian Scotland-Williamson alongside me in the booth, as always. And we are now joined by another member of the IPP fraternity. I kind of promised, Christian, I wouldn't call you Apollo first and foremost, but Alex Gray is with us, former Falcons tight end and now Gladiator. Alex, how are you doing, sir?
I'm great. I mean, if you want to call me Apollo, that's fine. I'm a method actor these days, so never break character.
I think this would be the perfect point for us to get up with some pugil sticks and actually kind of midway through the Rizzle kick set, we could have entertained the crowd.
Well, if you want it, mate, you got it. But I hope you got your medical insurance to sort it out. So that's what I often say to the contenders.
How is it for you being back here at the NFL and back in this world, considering what kind of wild change it's been for you in the last couple of years?
You know what? It's absolutely amazing. This is actually the first game I've been to since I stopped playing. And you know, when I first left, I couldn't bear to watch because I don't know, Christian, like you, I couldn't just watch a game and enjoy it. Everything I was watching was just watching all the defenses, watching everyone how it's lined up, what's everyone doing. I just couldn't watch a game, and also miss being out there. But to come back to see how much the game is growing, where the game is moving to, the rise of the academy, just everything that is surrounding the NFL. They're moving into town. They're the cool younger brother that's taken over London a little bit here.
Definitely. It's weird because Alex Gray and I actually were roommates for a bit when we were when I was making the conversion at IMG, and he'd already done it the year before. And so to now see the fact that there is an academy, what the Spurs Stadium even looks like now. We were here for the development day when everything was being launched here, and so it's kind of come full circle. Except I'm not a Gladiator, unfortunately.
Well, he's not doing too bad, though, is he? I mean, he's got 5 degrees to his name. Just got engaged not too long ago. So, I mean, he's going. We're going different ways, maybe, but he's going to the top. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, he can legally represent me when you end up throwing me off this.
That's it.
Gladiator style. Look, I want to ask you more about football, but just on the point of Gladiators, how did that whole thing come about? How much are you enjoying it? Like, the reboot has been, like, for guys like me who were very much of that Gladiators generation, who, like, were 13 when the original show was on. I've loved how authentic it is to the original. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's been amazing. I think they were very conscious of keeping that nostalgia feel. We all, I watched it as a kid as well, absolutely loved it. I think a lot of people did. No one had a bad word to say about it. It's kind of part of UK's entertainment pop culture a little bit, right? So I always joke, I think our job was just not to mess it up when we came back. It's been amazing. For me, it was a fairly long journey. I'd left the NFL, went back into rugby, got taught about an audition process that I just went for it. I'd never done anything like that before. Had to do an audition tape and then some on-screen type stuff. But from that day to us actually filming was a year and a half. So I stepped away from sport completely because I just didn't know what was around the corner. Would I have to do more auditions, more? And if I got injured, I might miss out on being out on the Gladiators, right? So it took a year and a half from first getting scouted, I guess, to us filming, which was a long wait, trust me. But for it to become what it is and to see how much the British public have got behind it and kind of picked up where they left off back in the 90s. It's been absolutely amazing. It's a dream.
It was weird. It genuinely became like, you don't get appointment viewing nowadays. Like, I know that some people watch Strictly every single week. So, like, genuinely for, like, that 12 weeks or so, all of my friends are like, are you watching Gladiators? And I'm like, it's Saturday night. We're all in our 30s / maybe early 40s. Surely we should be doing something and be out. Nope, we're watching Gladiators because we want that nostalgia here.
Yeah, and I think it's perfect timing because, people similar to our age who watch it as a kid, a lot of them have their own kids now, and they want to have the exact same experience that they did when they were younger. The biggest compliment we get from families coming up to us saying, for the first time in for however long, you've brought the family back together, and we've actually, watching something with my kids instead of them being on the iPad or on YouTube or whatever, and there's nothing else quite like it, and it's just amazing to be a part of it.
What's your favourite event?
So Powerball, obviously that's as close to my MO as you can get, but also the other event called The Edge, where you're kind of suspended 25 metres in the air and you're chasing someone trying to tackle them off, because every time you go up there you're like, you've got a big event coming up, but I'm sure it's worse for the contenders who are being chased rather than being the chasers. So because it's a big fall into a net, and the net's got all the little holes into it. Almost looks like you're just falling to your death almost. But it's a good time. And like we do some crazy stuff, and I guess that's all part of it.
Let's bring Alex Gray back in. Martin it's Jarian Jones, I'm told, the nickel corner, who is also down on the play. Alex, Martin on our YouTube stream saying there must not be many people who played for 2 teams in 2 different sports with the same name. As a Falcon, left, right and centre as you were. I'm trying to now think if I can think of one, but I think you might be the solo one. So there you go. We've got some history over near the booth as well.
Once a Falcon, always a Falcon is what they say, I think. Yeah, Newcastle Falcons, Atlanta Falcons. You can't shake it. Shake it.
What have you made of the IPP's development over the last couple of years, now to the stage where any team can sign a player? You know, we see a player drafted in the 6th round this year. Obviously, so much attention on Louis Rees-Zammit as well. It's really taken centre stage. Yeah,
it's been absolutely amazing. Like, I often think back to what it was when when we first started, even the year before the guys were at IMG. We were in Florida, Sarasota, just on some random field at some high school, in some random gym, just trying to make it work. The Canaries down the line in some ways, and just to see how they went to the IMG and how it's now developed into what it is. You know, there have been some big markers in the sand, Jordan Mailata probably being the biggest one, showing that, look, there is talent out there, and there's more and more people coming, and just with the academy filling that pipeline now, guys going to college, it's just looking really, really good, and just the opportunity for guys to get into a different sport now in the UK is just absolutely amazing. It's something I think we're all behind.
What positions do you think have the most success and the most opportunity for success in the transition?
You're not allowed to just say tight end.
Well, I wouldn't say tight end, to be honest with you, because
that's probably the hardest.
If you want that is the hardest one, simply because the physical demands are so. You need a block, you need a run, you need to catch. But the playbook, you need to know the second most after the tight end, right? And for someone who's never played the game before, that's always going to be hard. You know what? We haven't seen any really, but linebackers, I think, like anyone, defensive side of the ball is going to be way easier for me because it's far more reactionary. For crossover athletes as well, if you're taking rugby guys, if you can find a guy who's fast enough, physical enough to play on defense, I think they've got the best shot because, look, let's not get it wrong. If you can find an absolute mutant like Jordan Mailata, then that's the way you want to go, because you can't. They just put so much on the measurables, don't they, in American football? And if you are 6'9" and 350 pounds, then there's not many of you walking the earth. So there's always going to be a place for you. But I think for rugby guys like ourselves, my personal opinion is defense is much easier to play than offense. So
I've got to do a stop Louis Rees-Zammit question.
Sure.
For the socials, for everyone to get involved.
Tough for him moving to 2 teams though, two playbooks in your first year is rough.
2 playbooks, but when we spoke to him, he was clearly so much happier swinging to wide receiver. Like,
is that where he's playing now? Is it?
Yeah, pass protection, man.
Yeah,
I'll get you.
yeah, no doubt. See someone coming through the A gap. Yeah.
The Chiefs basically said exactly that. They were like, you put the ball in his hands, and the guy's electric.
Yeah.
Leave him into pass protect.
Yeah, it's the least technical positions wide receiver, right? Which is what the biggest jump is for players, I think. So.
But then also the question is though, the churn of running backs you'd be more likely to see the field because of the injuries, whereas receivers, you've got your solid 1, solid 2. That third person's got to be a kick returner usually or a slot.
Well, but a lot of people were asking us when he was on the Chiefs, what's the likelihood he's going to see the field this year? And I'm like, honestly, am I being shouted at in my ear? If Samaje Perine goes down and they bring Kareem Hunt back, and they're always going to sign some running back off the street. International Player Pathway, we talked about your experiences. 2 guys this year who really deserve some focus. Now, Travis Clayton has gone on to IR, but we are still hearing that he's in the building, spoken to people at the Bills, very impressed with what his approach has been. And then Louis Rees-Zammit, who has been so much attention brought on him. We'll get onto that in a moment as the Jags get under centre quickly. Trevor Lawrence with 1 back in the backfield, sending Tim Jones in movement from left to right. Brian Thomas also on that right. Delayed blitz shown by the Bears. They hand the ball for a run up the gut, maybe gaining 2 on that play, and it'll be 2nd and 8 to Jacksonville. Tank Bigsby, the ball carrier, for a run up the gut. So Louis Rees-Zammit moves from Kansas to Jacksonville. We'll hear from him next week on Wednesday. He's going to be speaking to the media about his experience, how he's moved to wide receiver. What have you made of how he's got on so far, this move from Kansas City to Jacksonville?
Yeah, I mean, we were just discussing before, how difficult that is, having to pick up 2 different playbooks, right? The biggest gap that he's going to have. Athleticism, he's got it. We've heard that. The Chiefs are really impressed with him, but trying to pick up 1 playbook, then have to, after pre-season, pick up another one. You've got to hope that they're going to give him time, because ultimately what the big blocker for any player in the IPP pathway is just time in the saddle, right? How long do you get doing the reps? He's going to be at the bottom getting reps of the depth chart, mostly on scout team, looking at a sheet with all the stuff written up, so he's not getting actual game star reps. But, it's a positive move. It's London's team. He's got people are interested, right, for another team to pick him up. He's just got to keep it moving. He's got to keep his head down. not get carried away with all the hype around him and all the hype that's going on, because we all know, we're all involved, we love this game. There is so much hype surrounding everything, all right? But as a player, you've got to lock that in, and you've got to turn up every day giving it your all, because there's someone coming out of college next year wanting to take your spot, right? And that's the honest truth.
And while we've got a break in the game, let's just go back to that conversation. Louis Rees-Zammit, you were saying your thoughts, Christian. I know you've been mulling over them.
I've been contemplating it deeply. I think having to change playbooks in your first year, having to change positions as well. You're going from a running back room to a receiver room. It's a lot different technique that you're learning. So the whole of spring OTAs, you've been learning a new sport, a new playbook with the Kansas City Chiefs, a new environment, a new culture with Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, where you've got an established leadership group. You're now thrust into the slightly, you could say, dysfunctional Jags in that they're 1-4 on the season. How much coaching is really going to be available to him this season when the main priority is coaches keeping jobs and being able to put a good product on the pitch to be able to actually win a game? So then it comes down to how much desire does he really have. Alex and I have both been in that situation. You can't rely on coaches to be able to give you the answers and put you in a position to win. It comes from asking other players around you who you can lean on, which would have been actually more favourable if he'd been with the Chiefs, because there's that higher intellect. They've been to championships. They're really learning from the best of the best in that building. So now he's gone to a new situation where perhaps it might be an opportunity for him to play a bit more in the pre-season next year, and actually in the long term is the best move for him. But I do feel like it's very admirable what he's trying to do, very courageous, because we've been in there and done it, and it's going to take a huge amount of effort from him individually to be able to upskill himself to play in the NFL.
If I'm going to skew positive on that, Alex, he did have that time in Kansas City. He saw what it was like to be in that environment. He was able to pick the brains of all of those great people. And actually, you know, the question is, they've moved him from running back to wide receiver. Pass protection was apparently an issue for him, which you can kind of understand.
Absolutely
what's harder, what's harder, pass protection or learning a route tree?
Oh, give me the route tree every single day. Yeah. Pass protection, that stuff will keep you up at night, I'll tell you. Especially, you know, the level of athlete that's in the NFL, right? The tight ends, we're put up against the DNs, which are the best pass rushers in the business. They get paid the second most money behind a quarterback because they have to go and get him. And then the guys who protect the quarterback, they get the second and third most as well. So, yeah, pass protection, that's a tough gig for someone who's never played the sport before, never, you know, because you've got the technical expertise and obviously knowing where the guy's coming from. Who are you actually supposed to be blocking on the fly, right? It's just so difficult. And I think what's going to help him now is moving to wide receiver. There's just such a bigger reliance on just pure athleticism. And that's what he's got. That's what everyone's saying he's got with all his measurables. So he's got a gooder shot being out there than anywhere else in the field, really.
Absolutely fascinating chat on Louis Rees-Zammit as the kickoff goes out the back of the end zone. 21-10, the Bears lead. 6:02 left in the third quarter. Gladiators coming back, Alex. When are you back?
We are back on air in January. Season 2, bigger, better, badder than ever. So tune in.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And he's getting down. The promos are there
yeah,
as well.
The sales